Gang, I'm not sure what is going on with the intro because it was playing just fine earlier. I don't know if this. Oh, yeah, I'm having a little problem with my signal. That just popped up. So, let me try this one more time here, and I'm going to take myself back out, but I'm going to try this one more time. All right, gang. I really wanted to debut that, but evidently StreamYard is being finicky, and if we've got rain, we've got wind, and I think Candace has got the same. So any number of snafus could happen. Um, just rest assured that that intro was playing just fine earlier, but now I saw the little uh signal thing pop up. So the weather may be messing with our internet somehow. So just bear with me on that. I may try when that little dang thing goes away. Um, I know I'm not on Wi Fi. I know I'm hardwired to this thing. Yeah, we've definitely got Wi Fi turned off. So. But it's telling me my network is unstable, and that's probably why it keeps popping that on and off. But we'll try it later in the stream before we get off here and we'll see if it will play because I really wanted y'all to see that. Um, so we got three people in here. So I'm going to go ahead and add Candace real quick here. Hey,
Hey,
Candace.
everybody. How's everybody on this fine, foolish Friday?
Yeah, it's definitely foolish because I could even play the intro.
Hey,
That's
we
the
got the
first
same
time that's
stuff going. We got the same stuff going on here. I told you earlier. The river's up, the wind's blowing. It's not really raining, the sun's shining, but it's going crazy today.
happened. And I'm hearing a little bit of rumbling, and so I'm not sure if that's thunder or not. So hopefully we won't get anything bad. I'm going to take a look at my modem router,
That's
whatever.
so weird because I remember I had messages saying that I was having internet trouble.
Mm-hmm. And that signal thing is just staying on there now. Usually it'll pop up there and it'll pop back off. But hopefully it won't cause any problems in the middle of the stream. And if it kicks me or Candace out, we'll try our best to get back on here. So, so it's definitely a foolish Friday on here.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't see anybody commenting. It could be that people are commenting and they may flood in here all at one time because sometimes when StreamYard's having problems, it will do that. In fact, I'm going to check something real quick here. I hate to, you know, do this whenever we're in the middle of it. Doesn't look like on the YouTube side anybody is said anything either. Okay. Maybe they're just confused because things are so weird. Maybe they can't even see me and Candace. That
Oh
could
my
be
goodness.
the case.
It'd be something to do a whole show and it just not
Yeah,
even be.
that would be just my luck debuting this new show. Um, it's not even Friday the 13th or anything. If it was Friday the 13th, I'd be like, okay, well, that's par for the course. But we got six people in here. So I think probably everybody that's a regular has seen Candace on a few of these streams, and also her husband Chris on a few of these streams, either with Candace or on his own. Candace has been on some on her own as well. Because as we know, when you get married, sometimes the two people's schedules don't mesh. They don't just go in cycles with each other because somebody could be working one schedule, somebody else could be working another schedule,
That's
and
true.
It just happens. Um, but Candace, did you want to, tell anything about yourself that you wanted to share with anybody that you think's unique or anything? I know you got some unique
I
animals.
I mean, if you've seen me on here before, you about you about know probably what you need to know about me. But no, I do. I have some unique animals. I'm like Dana. Me and Dana, we're the zookeepers.
Yeah,
We
or
could probably have a whole
somebody
show about that.
somebody told me one time I had a menagerie. That's a fancy word for it, but
I
yeah,
think Dana has a little bit more than I do, but I'm catching up
yeah,
with her, I believe.
yeah. Steve would agree with you, although Steve's kind of like, we can't have any more animals, Dana. Candace would
Well,
probably be like, yeah, you can have some more.
if it was up to me and you, we'd have a whole house full probably, which we do, I'd say.
Mhm.
Um, but, I was surprised when Chris let me have the frogs. That was a that was a big victory of mine, I guess.
Yeah, because I didn't know if at first I thought Candace was going to have to wait to get her frogs, and then all of a sudden it was like Chris said, "Yeah, you want to go get them? Let's go get them."
And he doesn't like frogs, that's the thing,
Yeah,
but he
that's
likes
right.
these. So, it might change his mind on frogs. I mean, who doesn't like frogs?
I
They're so
like
cute.
frogs. I thought frogs and turtles and all that stuff. I thought, I used to keep terrapins
Yeah, yeah.
back home. I used to keep them like you would keep dogs and cats or something.
Well, around here, they're abundant. You can find them on the side of the road or wherever.
Yeah, I mean, we saw them all over mom and dad's yard. You'd find them
Yeah,
on the side of the road. Unfortunately, sometimes you'd find them smashed in the middle of the
yeah,
road, which was sad. But terrapins are amazing creatures,
they
though.
are. I love turtles. I love any kind of turtles or frogs or anything like that. I think that kinda goes back to our childhood. I don't know about you, but I was always catching tadpoles, and we'd release them. But, they was always in mud puddles or wherever, you were and you remember the little, red spotted newts? Were they
Yeah,
around where you were? I love those. We'd catch and, I've not seen them ever since I moved from my childhood home. There were never anywhere else I ever been. It was just in that one spot where I was raised. They
mhm.
must be just in a certain parts of the state, just certain little spots, I don't know, because I never seen them anywhere else, just in that and that place was wasn't a wet land, but, it stayed kinda wet in areas and stuff, so maybe that's where I don't know, I've never studied a new salamander.
Those and like the blue-tailed lizards,
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
thinking,
you see those a lot,
yeah.
yeah,
My mom
that's so
hated
cool.
those things. She'd be getting a broom and I'd be like, "Mom, leave them alone. They're not doing anything. I don't want them in my house."
I think they're slithery, and some people just get put off by that.
I
Those
think mom
little
thought of a snake.
Yeah, yeah. How you been doing today, Dana?
Good. I mean, it's a Friday. I'm off from work and, what else can I say about it? I'm ready for the weekend and
Oh, I say, yeah, definitely. Well, this is a new show. I mean, we're just kinda getting our feet wet here.
yeah, I told people it was just kind of like an introduction to what we're going to be doing and all of that, and letting us get comfortable with this format. And
Yeah,
I
because, I
just
mean,
wish
this
Streamyard would cooperate.
we'll think of stuff because honestly, it's kinda new. I mean, this was just supposed to be just like a one-off thing, and I I know I'm not the most, like, entertaining person, but I'm gonna try to do Dana
I don't know
justice
about
and
that. I think you're entertaining, Candace. I think I'm boring. I think I'm really boring.
Well, I tell you, honey, I'm like, I don't know. Not once I get started, and people from the chat and stuff really makes it a lot easier too because, you kinda can, uh, interact with people and kinda see what they wanna talk about too. So, I kinda think that this show can really benefit from the chat a lot. Kinda because where we just have an open book of what we can talk about and do and stuff.
Right, exactly.
Are you reading anything right now?
No, and I even went back and checked YouTube just to make sure that but like I said, there's 5 people in here, or possibly 4 people in here right now. Well, now there's 6 people in here. So people may be trying to chat, but it may be StreamYard may be keeping them from, or keeping the messages from being where we can see them.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know Dead Pit's had trouble with that before. I
Yeah,
know Uncle
StreamYard
Bill has said
sometimes
that.
doesn't want to cooperate. I've known, but nothing's cooperating today. I mean, I was messaging you earlier just with the internet problem. I've been having internet problems all day, and I was like, Dana, if something happens, I'm just going to have my phone as a backup
Mhm.
because I mean,
Which
I
is
don't know what to
fine.
do if we got on there and I just all of a sudden disappeared. And I said, well, I have to have something to come back on. So yeah, we've been having trouble all over. It's just been, it's been our title kind of, it fits this day because it's been a hectic day. Uh,
Mhm.
but
What
I,
I was gonna try, Candace, if you don't mind, you'll probably stay on here, but I'll disappear for a
okay,
second. What I'm gonna do is actually take myself completely out of the studio. Sometimes that will fix things, and I'll come right
okay.
back. So give me just 1 second here.
Hello, everybody. Have an awkward silence here.
Okay, so
Oh, I like
uh,
that.
now the little thing is gone away, but I've got to add our brand back on there because it's
That's
got the
okay.
fair time tea.
Yeah, I like that. I like that color. Terror Time. I didn't get to watch your Terror Time tea today.
Well,
I'll have to go back and watch it.
yeah, the replay. Hopefully, it went smoothly. I didn't hear anybody say, anything like, "Well, you're buffering," or "You're stopping and starting." So, and I did notice that little signal thing, and the signal
Mhm.
thing is gone. I hope it
Well,
stays.
good, good.
So I'm going to see if I can add our intro back, and I'll give Candace a break because I feel like I'm making her talk
No, honey,
a
I'm
lot, and
fine.
but I'm gonna see if we can add the intro back, and maybe everybody will get to finally see that. It's like, because usually those intros give everybody a little bit of a break before we come on.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. All righty, so everybody finally got to see it, and hey, Kathy,
Hey,
Kathy
Kathy.
just sent us a message there in the chat, so we know chat messages are now coming through. So
Good.
I guess the next time, if there is a next time where that happens, which I can almost guarantee there will be, I'll just take myself out of the stream and come back in. Um, but so as you can see from the intro, what me and Candace are planning on doing with this stream show, whatever you want to call it, is to talk about movies. And we don't always have to talk about horror movies. You know, we can talk about comedies, we can talk about dramas, we can talk about made for TV movies, we can talk about sitcoms, even. I mean, the door is open. You know, the possibilities are endless, whatever way you want to look at it. We can talk about books, both horror and non horror. We can talk about music. And again, we can talk about horror soundtracks or non horror soundtracks or just music in general. I just got in or just purchased the 50th anniversary Who Made Who album
Mhm.
from ACDC with gold vinyl. And I'm
Yeah.
just so
I'm
I'm
jealous of that one.
ecstatic. I'm ecstatic about. So you may be able to pick that up at your local Walmart. My Walmart had plenty of copies when I was in there. So if you don't mind paying $26.
It was beautiful. I love that gold vinyl. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to pick that up. I have the original,
Mhm.
but I like getting the pressed color vinyl and stuff. Noah likes them, so because he's into vinyls and stuff, records or whatever you wanna call them. I didn't start calling them vinyl till here recently. I always call them albums or records and stuff like that,
Yeah.
but, I think the younger generation call them vinyls.
I think so too because I think my mom and dad just said records.
Records,
You
yeah,
know,
or 45s if you had the little ones,
get
and I have a ton of
45s.
those, probably
Mhm.
1,000 of those.
I think I might have
Um,
a couple of them.
yeah,
I
I
had I had a John Lennon 45,
yeah, I have some,
a
yeah, they were my
and
mom.
I think Sammy I think my basset hound Sammy, when we got him, when we just rescued him, I think while me and Steve were at the movies, this was before we decided we
Uh-oh.
needed to crate him when we left the house. He chewed up he
Oh,
chewed
no.
one of Steve's records, the cover on it, he just destroyed it.
Oh, no.
And I think he chewed my John Lennon 45 up. At least it wasn't one of the regular size
Yeah.
records, but,
No. I know all too well about the chewing and stuff. Ghost has finally come out of that, you
oh,
know,
well, that's great.
he's finally come out of it, but I had to lose a lot of stuff in the process of his puppy years, I guess is what you wanna call it. No, but I've collected vinyl all my life, and I inherited, they just kinda passed it down to me, my mom and dad. They said, "Here, you take these." So, I have a ton of the little 45s. Um, I remember that's the first time that I had ever heard Strawberry Alarm Clock. Do you remember them from the
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
60s? Peppermints and what is it? Peppermints
Incense and peppermints?
Peppermints, that's it. And there's another, band that I had never heard because this is like I had these when I was a kid, so another '60s band, and I love some of these, like, pop, bubblegum pop type '60s groups
Yeah.
from back then. It's called the 1910 Fruit Gum Company.
Oh, yeah. I've
Do you
heard of
remember
them too.
them?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I have some little 45 of them, and just everybody you can think of. There's some bands on there, you're like, "What in the world were they thinking when they they come up with these band names and stuff
I
like
don't know
that?"
if they were trying to be super creative or something, and now people look at us like, "What in the heck are you talking about? Strawberry alarm clock? What's that?"
Yeah, I think there's one called the Pied Pipers or something like that,
I
and
believe so, yeah. That sounds familiar. And here's something else I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get back in the groove of when people put messages in here, unless they're obscene. I will put them up here on the screen because I got out of doing that
yeah,
and I want to get back into it so people know. I can read off the comments, but when I put them up here, it's easier for everybody to see them
yeah.
up on the screen and stuff. But Kathy did say hello to both me and Candace. And looky here, Uncle Bill's in here.
Hello.
Uh, Now, Uncle Bill, you can come on these if you want to. It's not like it's necessarily a girls only show. We're not going to gang up on you or anything if you come on. So, if we're ever talking about anything that you want to come on and talk about, and hey, Uncle Bill, while you're in here, and I hope you haven't stepped away because sometimes Uncle Bill does drive-bys. Both him and CK do drive-bys. They'll pop in here and pop back out and maybe pop in here later. But I'm doing that watch along for, oh, Uncle Bill says, I want to read this. He says, I have a ton of vinyl that Dad left me. Yeah, I'd love to have you on sometime to show some of that vinyl
We
off.
should do that because I have it. I bet I have 1,000 records or more. I would love to do that.
We could do a upcoming Friday Foolish and it just be all about vinyl and Uncle Bill, if you want to come on here with me and Candice and show off your vinyl, I'd love to have you on.
Like our
But
favorite stuff or something like that. Be cool.
yeah, exactly. And oh, he says lots of Beatles and older 60s to
Yeah.
70s bands. That would be
What we
all.
like.
That's exactly what I like. And I like some of the 80s stuff too,
Mm.
but the 60s, the 70s is that's big for me. But Uncle Bill, what I was going to say is I'm doing the watch along for Blood Diner this weekend. If you don't have any plans for Saturday, it's 7 Eastern time, 7 p.m. by the way, not 7 a.m. Well, Wesley's in here too, so uh, let's. Wes says, "I have Macho Man Randy Savage be a man on vinyl. Holla."
Chris has that one too. He can come and show it off.
Yeah, I mean, we could get Chris on here, and if he, could do it. If he couldn't do it, when we have it in the time slot for Friday Foolish, we could do a night show or something like that, and he could come on and talk about it. Um, Steve has very few pieces of vinyl. I mean, I've got a ton more
Yeah.
than he does.
It's just always something that and when me and Chris got together, we, found that we both had that in common, that we collected vinyl. And when we kinda merged our already big collections together, it even got bigger, so I was like, "Where are we gonna store all these vinyls at?"
Yeah, it'd probably be bad if Steve had as much vinyl as I did. We probably wouldn't have the room for it. But
Yeah,
he's very specific about the types he wants. He's kind of choosy with things. And me, I'll go to old record shops and stuff like that, and I could spend hours going through all the vinyl that they've got, and I'll be
yeah.
like, need it, got it, doing that kind of thing, with them to see what I can get. Um, I'll put that up there here in a second, Uncle Bill, just because it's funny. Um, hey, Ben. Ben says, I've got Michael Jackson narrating the story of E.T. on vinyl. Now, that's unique, though. That is unique. Um, I definitely don't have anything like that.
I don't think I do either. We have a lot of we have, like, Gremlins. You remember the little books that came with the records in the back, and it would narrate the book? We have, like, Star
Yes, I had
Wars
some of
and,
those. Yeah.
um, I think, Gremlins. It's really untelling how many we have of those. I
I
really love those as a
Yeah,
kid.
I love those too. And do you remember, this wasn't records or anything, but do you remember those little color form things?
Yeah, I love
I
yeah,
love
we still have
those.
some of those, yeah. I think I had Gremlins color forms, pretty
Yeah,
sure.
and I think they had a ET.
Beetlejuice.
I think they had ET too.
Yeah.
So you had like a little color form
Yeah,
ET.
we still have some of those. And do you remember the stickers that were like the holographic stickers? I
Mhm.
forget what they called them, but they were like galactic type
Yeah, I can't
stickers.
remember what they were called either, but I do remember them.
That's back when people kept sticker books and stuff. Nobody does that anymore. I loved keeping sticker books.
Yeah, and I did scrapbooking for a while
Yeah.
too, but that was after I was older, but I have a scrapbook I started and never finished or never
Oh, that's
had it.
me. I spent all kinds of money on scrapbook and stuff and just halfway done, I was like, "Ah, this is boring." Threw it away.
But I gotta put this up there because everybody teases Steve about certain types of movies. Uncle Bill wants to know, does Steve have any Japanese grape vinyl? No, he does not, as far as I'm aware of, Uncle Bill. Uh, and Wes says, my wife has a separate record collection. She probably has as much, if not more, than me. So you guys have a really big collection then. So if you want to see a humongous vinyl collection, go to well, don't go without asking to their house. But if you go to Wes and Sarah's, you'll be able to see a lot of vinyl. Um, Wes would get me for somebody strange showed up on his doorstep and said, "Hey, I want to see your vinyl," but I'm not giving out your address, Wes. So if somebody gets your address, don't blame me. Um, Oh, Kathy, good point. Kathy says, "Oh, I love the smell of old record shops." I do too. And I like the smell of books too. My
Yeah.
mom used to laugh at me. I would get a new book in, like a new Stephen King book, and the first thing I'd do is open it up and smell of it. And people probably think, "What in the world?
Could
What's
you
wrong with
imagine seeing somebody do that at, like, a library? Just walk in and they just be there sniffing all the books. I mean, what would
I never saw that when I worked in the library, but I'm sure it's happened before.
I'm sure people just go there just to do that, just to sniff the books.
But I'll tell you something strange that happened. Well, several things happened over the years of me working. I worked at one library system for 17 years. That was the small local library
Mhm.
back home. Um, you would be shocked and amused and surprised and all of that by the things people use as bookmarks. When they check out a book from the library, I had somebody, and I'm not trying to get dirty or anything, and this one was unused, thank goodness. But somebody used like a panty liner as part of a book, and I'm like, okay. So I got used to like when people would return the books because sometimes people would. I had a teenager leave, was it a $10 bill in a book that they returned? And the parent called and said, "My daughter left this money in the book. Can you please check and see if it's still in there?" I said, "I'll be glad to. I can't guarantee it's still in there." But sure enough, I took the book and kind of shook it gently, and there's this $10 bill fell out of there. So you got to ask for ID and all that stuff. You don't want to just be giving that money to anybody.
Yeah.
But so after that, I got used to shaking the books to see, well, could be money, could be any number of things that come out of here. And I'm sorry if y'all hear Sandy barking in the background.
I got things in my head that I could just picture falling down there, but I'll refrain from saying
Uh,
them.
Uncle Bill says, LOL, guarantee it. He says, oh, book covers. We're
I
getting
don't know what if I walked into a library and seen somebody just huffing books, I'd just turn around and walk away. I was like, "Okay, that's not the library for me."
Yeah, I would find it very odd, but certain things when you work for a library system, at least for me,
Or
for as
any
long as I
public
did,
place.
oh yes, you're gonna, when I transitioned from a very small hometown public library to the Louisville Free Public Library system, and especially when I moved to working in IT at the main library downtown, you better be prepared to see anything. Because, drug use is rampant
Yeah,
in big cities, unfortunately, and not so big cities sometimes. And, you know, mental health is not taken care of the way it should.
yeah,
People are untreated and out on the streets. They're homeless and they're mentally ill, which is sad. It's really
yeah, it
sad.
is.
But it's dangerous not only for the person that is suffering from the
Mhm.
mental illness, but it's dangerous for people that encounter them in some cases. So, yeah, we need to really, countrywide, we need to restructure mental health services. Um, but Kathy says, I have a 45 record from the back of the cereal box,
Yeah,
ABC's, the Jacksons. Yeah, I remember those
yeah.
too.
I used to have a Monkees one, I sold it when I sold half my collection, but it was a Monkees, 45 from that's cut out from a, cereal box. I was like, "This is the neatest thing I've ever seen." Now, I do have some, paper, vinyls. They're like I don't know, I'd have to show them, Dana. They're, like, for kids from back in, like, the '40s.
Right.
And they have, like, this, like, really cute, like, design on them.
Uh-huh.
It's like a picture disc, but it's not. But I don't know, I just have to show it. It's the oddest looking vinyl I've ever seen. The
Hmm.
back from, like, the '40s, early '50s, stuff like that, vinyl were colored most of the time, like yellow or blue. It
Yeah.
was really weird. I'd like to show those off if I could find them. They're probably in storage, but
Well, I tell you what, we can go ahead and schedule out like for next Friday if nothing comes up, where me or Candace
yeah.
can't be on here for whatever reason. Um, eh, let's just plan a vinyl show. A
Yeah, anybody
vinyl
wants to
show.
join, they can.
Yeah, people can come on and show off their collections and
They don't have to stay on here the whole time, just if they wanted to stop by just to
yeah, you
show.
can pop on and say, "Hey, here's what I got," and I gotta go because I got an appointment or whatever. We'll understand. Um, Ben says, "I've worked in libraries since 2001, and I think I remember Ben telling me that before." He says, "Folks do all kinds of
Oh, yeah.
yes, they do." I know there was and this was Louisville Free Public. One of the IT guys told me when I hadn't worked in that department very long. He uh he told me that I think it was him that walked into the bathroom and there was a poor homeless guy naked trying to take a bath in a sink
Oh
and
my god.
trying to do like a what do they call that, a French bath or something. I'm not trying to be
Whores bath is what we call them.
but he was basically trying to rinse himself off and he was stark strip naked. I bet that was shocking to go in there and you're planning
And
on
it
using
was like a multi-stall bathroom?
being as I had never been in that the men's bathroom, I'm thinking it may have just been like open stalls and
Oh, okay.
maybe urinals in there, but I don't know why Sammy's doing that. I thought maybe my food was here, but the guy hadn't got here with my food yet, so I don't know what he's carrying on. Steve's gonna get mad at me putting all this stuff up, but Wes says Steve's favorite book series, The Joy of Grace. I'm sincerely thankful to you guys for putting grape in there instead of the other word. 'Cause somebody might get the wrong idea on here. And Chris is in here. He says, I'm currently on my lunch break, just stopping by to see what you gals are up to. Well, we're
Foolishness.
foolishness. Yeah, exactly. Exactly what we're supposed to be talking about. And we had a little bit of foolishness out of my internet, I think.
Well, mine too, Dana. I'm surprised mine's alright right now.
Oh, now I don't remember Kathy telling me this. This is interesting. She says, Ben, I was a library aide at an elementary school in the 70s. A few times I found parents' checks, driver's license. Oh, we found driver's license too, and one car key. Hey, Jake. Jake says, Hi, Dana and Candace. Best of luck with the new show, Friday Foolish. Well, we
Thank
appreciate
you. Got off to a rocky start, but I think that it's kinda
It's
it's
it's kind of unique. People will probably remember that. I know I'll remember. Um, but since we're talking a little bit about the show too, I plan to do some T-shirt designs. Me and Candace, as soon as I get off my butt and create that design and get it put. I'm going to do the shirts myself because I've got the heat press now. Um, and so soon me and Candace are going to be wearing hot pink shirts with the new logo on them. Candace is going to get one, and I'm going to have one. Uh, hey, TJ. TJ says, "What's this foolishness now?" LOL. Yeah, well, it's Friday foolish, so you got to have some foolishness
Gotta
in
have the tomfoolery in here,
there.
huh?
And I'm so glad that everybody's seeming to have fun with this, and they seem to have the same mindset as me and Candace do about this new adventure that we're on. And I'd like to echo what Candace said earlier. We want people to come on
Yeah,
and join us on here as long as people can behave. And I think everybody that's in here right now, you could behave if you came on live on the stream. And so I have an open door policy as long as people don't betray that trust or that open door policy. So if you come on here and you act like a jerk, you probably won't get asked back on. But if you can come on here and play nice with everybody, then we're good. But that's all I'm going to say about that. And I just want to say that as of now, everybody is welcome to come on here and join me and Candace while we're doing these streams. If you want to come on, show off something in your collection or whatever, like when we do the vinyl show next week. If you say, "Hey, I've got several pieces of vinyl or whatever in my collection. Can I come on there and show them?" And I know what Wes tells me over. He told me this early on. He says if people come on your stream, they got to be on video. I don't say that that's a mandatory thing because people are camera shy. I understand that. I've even tried to encourage Blissful to come on here audio only. I said, you don't have to come on camera. If you decide later you want to come on camera, it's fine. But if you want to come on here and just talk, and the audio, and you could have a little avatar or whatever, as your picture there, we could do that. I don't say you can't come on if you don't come on video. Now, Wes might say that if you want to come on the Dead Pit channel, but that's their stuff and my stuff's my stuff. So we do things slightly different around here. Wes, you say you can't behave, which is why I'm not asked on. Hey, I told you it's an open door. You can come in if you want to. All you got to do is ask, and I'll send you the link so you can come on. It's easier to send you a link than it is Uncle Bill because Uncle Bill don't have a dang Facebook anymore. Um, but I'm telling you now, Wes, you can come on if you want to. All you got to do is ask me. And you do have a Facebook, so I can send you the link in the chat.
I mean,
But
whenever Dana first asked me to do this, I was, like, shocked. I was like, "Ain't nobody gonna wanna watch me," because it's supposed to be a one-off thing, but, every week, I said, "People don't wanna watch me every week on there," but I'm
are
I'm,
you
uh,
kidding, Candace?
trying my best.
We got
I just enjoy talking, so I said, "I can do it."
once we got past the technical difficulties, we've had 10 or more people in here, so
Yeah.
that's good for me for any
And it's
stream.
good to have a chat because really honestly, if we run out of things to talk about, we kind of, the chat can.
Go back to the chat. Wes says, I'm working right now, buddy. Gaw. Well, what in the heck are you doing in here then? He's
He's doing
always
what Chris is doing.
he's always accusing me of trying to get him in trouble at work because I have these streams in the middle of the day like this. No, I ain't trying to get anybody in trouble. I mean, I don't know if my husband's going to the IT closet or whatever he does when he wants to hide out when he gets on here. I haven't seen him put anything in the chat for a little bit, so um, I don't know if he was just hiding out from everybody and he's like, I'll duck into the IT closet. No. uh, say a couple of things. He may be on his phone too. He may not actually. He's probably not actually getting on a computer at work or anything like that because yeah, things are kind of iffy when you do stuff like that. I know I keep checking my phone, but oh, my order is here. Oh, my food. So I'm going to take myself out of this stream for just a second, and Candace will keep y'all entertained, I'm sure, till I get back here.
Like
So,
that's gonna happen.
oh, I'm sure it'll be fine. I'll be right back.
Well, everybody, while Dana's away, and she can answer the question too, just off the top of my head, just so there's not dead air and a awkward silence. Um, what horror film that's not currently ever had a television series come from it? What horror film or horror series would you have liked to have seen or would like to see a television series come from? Just off the top of my head, because I thought about this earlier when I was putting my shirt on. I have a Monster Squad shirt on, which I know that there was a Monster Squad show from the '70s, but it has nothing to do with the movie. I kinda woulda liked to have seen that as a series from the movie. So, what would you choose? Because I know there's like a Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street series. I really don't know. I'd have to sit and think about that too. But I think that the Monster Squad, I think that that would have made a pretty good TV series from the movie. I like the Monster Squad. I think that's like Chris is one of my husband's like I don't know if it's not his favorite movie at all, but it's one of his favorite movies. Guys, I'm not very entertaining, especially whenever Dana's not here. I don't think Beetlejuice would work because, nobody is Beetlejuice except Michael Keaton, and I don't think that he would have ever signed on for any kind of TV series. I just don't think that that would have worked. Thank you, Kathy. I appreciate that.
All right, I'm back. If people don't mind me opening my bag of chili here, actually it's a bowl of chili, but it's in the bag.
I'd asked them, Dana. I just trying to think of things to talk about while you were gone. If you could think of a horror series that you would wanted to seen as a TV series that's not already happened, what would you what would you have
Hmm.
chose? I said the Monster Squad because I know that that monster there was like a TV series like in the '70s that had nothing to do with the movie.
Right, exactly.
But I thought
I,
that would have been a fun one. Don't
I was
you? Like,
sitting here thinking, and everyone I'm thinking of, I'm like, they already did that, or they
yeah,
doing
like
it
like
recently.
Friday the 13th and
Yeah, because
um Nightmare on Elm Street. Did they do a Texas Chainsaw Massacre one too? Or no?
that's what I was trying to remember. Can anybody? Because that's what I was going to say. I was going to say maybe Texas Chainsaw Massacre. What about Halloween?
Yeah, that could have. I thought Hellraiser, but I don't think. I mean, it could have worked, but I don't. I don't know about Hellraiser. What do you think? I don't think that would have worked as a TV series. Do you?
Well,
And
yeah, I don't know. I don't know with the Cenobites are unique and all that, and Pinhead's kind of unique, but I don't know how it would work as a TV series. I'm just unsure about that one. Oh, Victor, that's good. Um, he says, "How about a Phantasm show that has weekly exploits of the
yeah,
Now that would have been fantastic back in the day when Angus Scrimm was
yeah.
still alive, and I'll do it because I can't see anybody else playing that role of the tall man. because Angus Scrimm took that and made that his own. If they had
Yeah,
done that years ago, if somebody had had the idea to do a
that
fantastic,
would have worked really well. That's a really good one. I know Chris would have been on board on that one.
uh, I got to put this up here. What Kathy said. I don't know if Candace seen that yet, but she says Candace
Yeah,
is fun and her giggle is contagious. I think y'all make a great team. Well, Kathy, I
appreciate
really
that.
really appreciate that. Um, I think I made the right choice in who I picked for this new series of streams.
I think as time goes on, I'll get more, in flow with things. I'm just not used to doing them, I guess, is what it is. So, I won't be so hard on myself again.
You don't need to be hard on yourself, Candace, because I've already heard positive things even before we started this, that they like seeing us interact on the streams. Um, TJ says Beetlejuice did have a cartoon series. You're
I
right
loved
on
it.
that, TJ.
I still like it.
Yeah, that was a fun one. Uh, did they have a? Am I wrong in think? Did they have a Freddy Krueger like cartoon at any point in time, or did I just dream that?
I don't remember one. That doesn't mean that there wasn't one, but I don't remember one.
Of course, Freddy Krueger might have been a little bit too abrasive for a cartoon.
I know they made, like, cartoons like, Bill and Ted. I used to watch that one.
Ghostbusters had a
Oh,
cartoon.
yeah, Noah loves the real Ghostbusters, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, remember Ace Ventura, Pet Detective? And I think The
Oh yeah.
Mask had one too. Jim Carrey's The Mask had one.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe you're right on that.
I should
I
have
probably just dreamed that there was one. I maybe wish there was one back then.
could have been, I don't remember one. That would be so weird though. Just if they
And to have Robert England and in cartoon form every Saturday or whatever.
yeah, I
It's like,
still
well,
can,
you
so
got
here you go.
it'd be like, well, Robert, you got to keep it clean because this is like a cartoon. And what if he slipped into ultimate Freddy mode or
Oh my
something?
gosh. That would have been I really I don't think there was one. I just don't know how that would work with the whole
But I would have liked it. I definitely would
oh,
like it
yeah.
now.
I mean, they made the toys. They made the pull string doll and all that stuff,
I
so
had,
why not the cartoon?
I think my Freddy doll might. It's either at my mom and dad's still yet, or it's somewhere. You believe me and Steve have been married 10 years, and there's still stuff in boxes in our
Oh,
closets
that's
that
how
I
we are.
haven't unpacked.
Yeah. We have stuff in storage I've not seen in probably 10 years or more.
So my Freddy doll that talks might be somewhere.
I have a
Uh,
Beetlejuice one like that, and I have a Pee Wee Herman. Um, can't did they make it? Steve Urkel. I have a Steve Urkel too.
oh, that's cool. Maybe we can do a upcoming show showing our unique dolls and stuff like that. We don't have to just do horror ones.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that Steve Urkel doll.
Yeah, I had to find him. He's not in his box or anything like that, and I think his glasses are broke off. He was one I played with. So
Mm.
I don't I'd like to have one in the box. That would be cool. And Ernest, I have a
Oh,
yeah, Ernest. I forgot
yeah,
about
Chris
Ernest.
Chris was saying that we have an Ernest pull string
Yeah.
doll too.
Noah, when he was a baby, he loved Ernest, so he played with that one a lot.
You
But
know,
they start sounding like chipmunks after a while. They don't whatever they use. Even
yeah,
the Beetlejuice I have in the box sounds like a chipmunk.
wow.
It's
Well, my Freddie might sound like a chipmunk now too. I ain't had him out, and Lord knows when. Ben says he's got the Ernest one too. So there's several people that I guess have that one. I'm going to read Wes's here. He says, "Is it just me, or have they run the Child's Play Chucky shit into the ground? Papa Chucky don't do much for me. That show has go away heat." I don't know if he meant to say that or meant to say something else.
I've not watched it. I have no interest in it, but I think Chris has started watching that new series.
I watched it at the beginning, and it was okay. It was entertaining. It was a
I
lot
love
better than
Chucky.
that remake.
Yeah. I didn't watch it either. I said I'm not gonna waste my time.
Terrible, terrible. Just stick with
It just
the
didn't look good.
original.
I mean, I'm not gonna say, there could be people out there that likes it. It didn't look good to me, so I just said I'm not gonna waste my time. I'm like that. If I don't think it's worth watching, I just kinda sometimes I'm surprised. Sometimes I'm surprised I get that way and they're like, "Oh, well, you need to give it a chance." And I'm
Right.
surprised and I like something, but I may eventually watch it. I've not got around to it.
Oh, I did not know this, Ben. There was a Killer
Yeah.
Tomatoes
Yeah,
cartoon.
I think I remember that. My brother was obsessed with the Killer Tomatoes. He was obsessed as a kid. Really, every time we'd go to the VHS store or whatever, that's all he would get is the Killer Tomato stuff. And my mom said, "I'm getting tired of these Killer Tomatoes."
That reminds me of the library, my little small town library. Parents would come in and take the kids down to the children's section, and you would always hear, "We're not getting another Teletubbies.
Oh
We're not getting
gosh.
another Barney. We're not the Wiggles. We're not getting another Wiggles thing. I'm sick to death of that stuff. No, just no more." So I guess every parent goes through that with
Oh
their.
yeah. I remember the whole Barney craze. I remember the Teletubby craze, but thank goodness I wasn't, you know, young enough to want to watch it, or I didn't have anybody around me that was young enough to wanna watch it because that just would drove me mad.
Well, this is going to sound completely blasphemous, and if anybody has their kids around, you might want to cover their ears if they're a big Barney fan. But I was so annoyed by Barney that years and years and years ago, I think it was Fangoria. It was either Fangoria or Gore Zone. They would have T-shirts that you could buy in the magazine. You'd see ads for them, and they had this T-shirt one time where I think it was Freddie, Jason, and Michael Myers had cut Barney's head off. Barney's body was laying, and his head was laid over here with blood coming out of it. And I just found that insanely hilarious. I would be a terrible parent, I guess, because
Now, I wanna admit I was a part of the Barney craze. I
mhm.
loved Barney, and, I had a cousin that loved Barney and that I was always around, so I was part of the Barney craze. But there's a good documentary about the Barney.
Oh,
Um,
is there?
yeah, I think it's on Hulu. I forget what it's called, but man, I didn't realize the Barney drama went so deep. You just have to watch watch that
I mean,
watch that documentary. There's a
as
lot of trouble,
As a
surrounding it.
purple dinosaur, he was cute, but that
Yeah,
show annoyed me so much. "I love you, you
I
love me."
loved it. I know, but I was younger, but I wasn't
Yeah,
like
maybe it was just
incredibly
because
young, but
I
I just
was
loved it. But yeah, he got old after I got a little bit older. I was like, I don't like this anymore.
right,
And I
but I'm
tried to go
glad.
back and watch it, and like whenever Noah was little, Noah did not want to have nothing to do with Barney. And I was kind of glad because I was like, how did I ever stand this?
So I'm glad that Candace doesn't think I'm a horrible person because I was laughing
No,
about that
it's
T-shirt.
annoying. As an adult, it's annoying. I mean, there might be some adults that love Barney. I mean, that's okay. I love Mister Rogers' Neighborhood. I will always love that show,
Oh,
or Reading
I'll go back
Rainbow, or
yeah, Reading Rainbow, Mister Rogers' Neighborhood, Captain Kangaroo,
Captain
Se
Kangaroo.
Sesame Street.
Yeah, there was one I loved called Zoobly Zoo, and it's creepy now that I'm older. Had, like, Ben Vereen in it. It's called Zoobly
I
Zoo.
don't think I ever saw that one. The Electric Company
The
was.
Electric Company, yeah, man, there's a lot. There's one that when I was a kid in the 90s, it was called Ghost Rider. It's for older kids.
Oh, I think I remember
Ghost
that
Rider.
briefly. Mhm.
Yeah, I love public KET, it was KET for us where we're in Kentucky, but, PBS stuff, I just loved it. Mister Rogers will always be my favorite, though. I mean, he's just and I loved Captain Kangaroo. What was
Mhm.
his name? Mr. Green Jeans?
I think so. Yeah, yeah. Russell mentions HR Puffin stuff, which I never watched HR Puffin stuff, but I know what it is.
Yeah, I love all the Sid and Marty Krofft stuff. HR Puffin stuff was my favorite. I loved Sigmund and the Sea Monster. There's one called the Bugaloos. I loved Lidsville.
Hmm.
I love Sid and Marty Krofft. Got a funny story. Chris might have already told this uh, on your one of your streams about my brother and the shoe and the HR Puffin stuff DVD.
I can't remember if we did or not.
Back when I was at home and my brother, Chris is not lying there. I do have a massive Barney
Yeah,
collection.
I saw that. We'll
I
put
still
that
buy Barney stuff.
up.
I do. I have a huge Barney collection. I have a huge Blues Clues. I don't.
Mm.
It's nostalgic for me. I love toys, so I buy all that stuff. Um, it's okay,
I
but
find the Wiggles, I find them creepy.
oh yeah, I never knew anybody because I was way older whenever the Wiggles came out. But there was one time because I'd bought the box set of HR Puff and stuff. And because I grew up watching it with my mom, and that was something she grew up with. It was Sid and Marty Krofft stuff, and the DVD display screens. Whenever it's all been played or it's at the beginning,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
they don't really do this so much anymore. But it had the repeat music over and over and over and over,
Mhm.
and it just kept on playing. Not even the entire HR Puffin stuff song. I don't think it was just like the part where it's talking about HR and Puffin stuff, and I must have got lost and, like, chatting with Chris on the because we was dating and we was doing, like, a, um, messenger type thing where you could see each other and talking and stuff,
Mhm.
and, my brother must have been trying to sleep, and that HR Puff and stuff
Oh gosh.
theme song just kept on going over and over and over, and I had just bought a brand new TV. It was like a 60-inch TV for my room, and next thing I know, I just see a Chuck Taylor flying through the air and hit my new TV, and my brother said, "Will you just shut it off? Trying to sleep in here." He got so aggravated. Now I aggravate him every time I bring that up. He's like, "Will you just drop the HR Puff and stuff
One
shit?"
one that happened a couple of times to me. I didn't throw a shoe or anything, but, um, my mom always loved the Waltons, and I have a better understanding of the Waltons
I
now.
love Waltons.
But back then, me and my brother would make fun of my mom unmercifully for watching the Waltons all the time. So she got a set of Waltons episodes,
Yeah,
and the same thing happened with
I
that.
know.
She fell asleep, it went back to the mini screen, and it kept playing the
Yeah.
Waltons theme song
I know
over
that
and
all too
over.
well. My dad, he would put his Waltons DVDs in, and he would just be playing that theme song over and you'd wake up in the middle of the night because my room was next to theirs, and that's all you would hear is just the Waltons playing over and over. I'm like, "Please, just shut it off."
It
But I
might be
understand what my
funny the
brother meant.
first couple of times, but after that, it's not funny. And my brother did the same thing with a Star Wars movie. It might have been the first Star Wars movie. He fell asleep, and it was playing the Star Wars theme, and I said, "Oh, for the love of God!" I went in there and I turned his TV and DVD player and all that off because I was like, "I can't stand this anymore."
Why did they do that? I don't understand. I mean, I understand kind of, but I'm like, "Why?"
Why did they make it loop?
Yeah, look like that. I mean, it's aggravating.
I
Can you
know the King of the Hill. Have you ever watched King of the Hill,
my
Candace?
favorite animation of
I
all time?
I love it, but there were some because I've got a few seasons of it on DVD,
Yeah,
and one of the seasons, Bobby is like playing a video game on the
yeah.
mini screen, and he says, "Make a selection. I think you'll find something you like."
Yeah, I
Bobby
know that, yeah.
And then if you don't do something, he says, "Will you pick something already?" He's like he's interacting with you. I just think that's so funny. Um, but let's see. TJ did say I'd watch a Carpenter's The Thing TV series. Now
That would
that would,
work, yeah.
yeah, it'd be interesting. I wish these television companies would. would see this stuff and say, "Hey,
Yeah,
maybe it'd be a good
sponsor
idea if we did."
they could sponsor us too.
Yep.
So
Hey,
here, you come up with it.
and you are right, Russell. Morgan Freeman did start out on the electric company. He most certainly did.
I just randomly found a electric company DVD at the Dollar Tree one time. It was like
Oh, really?
a season or something like that. I can't remember what it was. I was like, huh? Find surprises at the Dollar Tree sometimes.
Yeah, you never know what you'll find
Back when
at
things
the
were
Dollar Tree.
a dollar.
Soon it's not going to be the Dollar Tree anymore. It's going to be
Um,
the $10 tree or
$10 tree, yeah.
TJ said, I liked Electra Woman and Dinah Girl, also Far Out Space Nuts and The Lost Saucer with Ruth Buzzy and Jim Neighbors. I don't think I ever watched any of that stuff. Russell says he loved The Lost Saucer. And Victor says, I have Lost Saucer on a bootleg DVD. Far Out Space Nuts was fun too.
Those they sound familiar. I'd have to look at them and say, I love Jim Neighbors. I don't think I've ever seen it, but I would love to see it.
And Russell says, Where in the Wolf? If that's a show, I don't know. I'm not familiar
I
with
don't know
that.
what is the show. It's like a flash I'm having in my mind. Because I remember I used to watch it all the time in the '90s, and it was something that I absolutely loved. It was like I it's like I can see flashes of the intro, and it shows, like, cavemen at the beginning, and it shows, like, all this stuff from, like, around the world, I think, and it was stories.
It sounds familiar, but I can't come up with a title.
Oh, man, what was that called? I
Maybe
bet
I'll
you
run that by Steve when he gets home and we'll
it
see.
had, like, cavemen Amazing Stories, yes. Do you remember that? Amazing
Oh,
Stories?
Amazing Stories. I had forgotten that the intro was
Yeah.
like that. I
Yeah,
think I
amazing.
have Amazing Stories back in the back room.
Yeah,
The other back
amazing
room.
story.
This is a back room, and then we got another back room.
Yeah, I would love to watch that again, just start from the beginning and watch it because I that just, like, randomly came in my mind. I'm like, "Man, that's something I loved back, growing up." Um, and there was a show I used to like, I don't it's a little claymation show called Bump in the Night. Have you ever seen it?
I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah, it was a little claymation show. I forget what network it came on, but I think it
I
come on
love
BBC.
claymation stuff.
Mhm. Yeah, it had, like, this little green, like, gooey looking guy, little blue gooey guy. I mean, and like a little doll, I think, that was like missing a button for her eye or something. I really liked that. It was
Wasn't it Sesame Street that had that one segment one time where there was an orange that was singing, and I think it was claymation, and its hair popped off at one time. It was going, "What?" And its hair popped off.
maybe,
I
maybe
thought that
so.
was Sesame Street, but
I
maybe,
loved Sesame Street though growing up. Jim
yeah.
Henson, he's mine and Chris's both. We just love anything Jim Henson. He's like one of my favorite people in the world.
Me and my brother used to torture my dad with Sesame Street. He got so sick of that. He's like, "Oh, do we have to watch this again,
Oh
please?"
goodness.
You know. Um, Red Hammer, I have seen The Uninvited, the movie about the mutant that comes out of the cat. Yes, it is a fun movie. Uh, and the effects are good, but you never feel like a real cat is in danger or anything like that. So it's okay to watch this because a lot of the times when it attacks, it's like it's in cat form and it'll just jump on somebody's face or something, start clawing them. It's kind of like the cat in Reanimator when Herbert West brings the cat back. I mean, it's obviously not a real cat. It's flying all around the room. They're jerking it off people's bodies and throwing it. It was a real cat at the beginning. Rufus was when they showed it at the beginning, but by the time it ends up dead and Herbert West does a line. He says, uh, "You brought it back to life," or something to that effect. And he says, "Twice." I love that. Jeffrey Jeffrey Combs. He's the only one I could ever envision playing Herbert West.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
met Jeffrey Combs a few years back, and he was just so nice.
Yeah, yeah, we met him a couple times, yeah.
And when I went up to meet him, I told him about how my dad rented Reanimator, and that was how my family first watched it. And he said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry." And I was like, I wanted to say why, I said, "No, we had a lot of fun with it." But yeah, he's a really nice man. And
He is, yeah.
uh, Chris says, one of the best episodes of Amazing Stories has Christopher Lloyd as a teacher and he loses his head, and it's so awesome.
Yeah.
I think
That
I
needs to
remember Christopher Lloyd being in one of those.
that needs to be a series that somebody just, like, reviews and watches because 'cause it's been so long. I mean, it's probably since the '90s since I've seen it.
Maybe
So,
me and TJ can do that one.
yeah. Yeah, that'd
Are
be
you paying
awesome.
for that, TJ? We can do it on the Horror on TV streams. Uh, TJ says, anybody remember Nickelodeon had a Canadian ripoff of Sesame Street called Pinwheel? They had weird cartoons from all over the world and their own original characters and puppets.
I don't
Uh,
remember that.
I was going to say Russell lives in Canada, so um, he says, TJ, I'm Canadian, and yes, so he remembers it. Um, TJ says if we can find the episodes for Amazing Stories, he says sure. So I'll do my best to see what we can find. Me and TJ will both look and see if we can find the episodes. Because I thought I had the whole series back there. I'm going to have to go back and
If
check.
they come out with a box set of that, I would love to have it because, I mean, like I said, I used to watch that every time it come on. It's just one of those shows that you kinda forget about, but, you know, when you remember it, you're like, "Oh, that's an amazing show."
Um, Kathy, yes, the
Yeah.
Singing California Raisins. And does anybody remember that claymation Christmas?
I love the Singing Raisins, yeah, or California Raisins. I loved them. I had all the little, like, rubber toys, and I had a big, huge pillow that had big noodle arms and, legs and, um, all kinds of stuff. I just love the Cali I was obsessed in the probably late '80s, early '90s, I was a little bitty kid. I loved them.
Hey, Gory Tiger. Me and Candace are just talking about all kinds of foolish on here. How are you doing today? Um, so yeah, we've got quite a crowd in here, Candace. We got 15 in here
Oh,
right
yeah,
now. Yeah, that's like I say, that's great for my
yeah.
channel to have that many here in the middle of the afternoon.
Yeah,
Especially
yeah. A lot of people's at work, a lot of people's, busy.
is
Yeah, there's
is technically Chris still working?
oh, yeah. Technically, he is.
Hopefully, we don't
Yeah.
get him in trouble, or I don't get him in trouble.
He should be alright.
We don't
Yeah,
want
there's
Chris to miss any calls or anything.
oh, no. No, definitely not. I think he was on a break whenever
He said he was on lunch earlier. I didn't know how
yeah.
long his lunch was.
But there's a lot of shows, that just, you've not seen in so long, and it kinda sits in the back of your mind, just sitting
Mhm.
there waiting for you to randomly just think of it one day. I just wonder how many awesome shows that we grew up watching or just really liked, and it just, like, kinda forgot about it, but then you're like, "Oh, yeah, I forgot."
But when you rediscover them, it's just like coming home. It's
Yeah,
like a comfy chair.
yeah, but, I there has been instances where I mean, absolutely loved something. Like, it
Mhm.
was the greatest thing ever, and then when I finally revisit it as I'm older, I'm like, "How did I ever like this?"
Yeah, I do run into that every once in a while. It's like, what in
Yeah,
the world?
and I'll be honest with you, and I still like the brand. I still like the thought of it, and I like the cards, and I
Mhm.
like collecting stuff of it. But the Garbage Pail Kids, I used to be obsessed with the Garbage Pail Kids. I used to get the cards and stuff like that, but I love the movie.
Yeah.
But as an adult, I revisited the movie because I used to rent it all the time.
Was it really super cheesy now?
It just it I don't know, it didn't hit the way it did when I was a kid, I guess, and
I think when we're kids, we think, like there was a Garbage Pail Kid, Bart and Martin, and things like that. And when you're a kid, you think that stuff's just hilarious.
yeah,
And as you get older, I mean, there might be some adults, and that's okay if you still think it's hilarious. But I just think when we're kids, that stuff, everything seems
yeah.
fun.
Well, I still love the cards and stuff. Chris collects them. We love all that. Just the movie, it didn't. I don't know. I just didn't like it as much as I did when I was a kid. I guess is what it was. But I grew up because I grew up looking at Mad Magazine and
Yeah.
all that stuff. I find childish humor, stuff. you know, I find stuff like that funny.
Mm.
But I don't know. The movie just didn't hit the way it did as a kid. I guess the way that I used to like Barney, but I couldn't watch it now.
There've been even, television shows or been movies like I still like this movie and I still think it's creepy. And it was a made for TV movie called Don't Go to Sleep. And
Yeah, I
I
haven't
think
seen that.
it was on television. I think I watched it in syndication. I don't think mom would have let me watch it in 1982 when it came out because I would have been maybe, what, six or so, six, seven, something like that when
Yeah,
it first came out. I just can't. It, mom and dad usually let me watch pretty much what I wanted, but that movie, they might have thought, well, she might not sleep for a week after watching this, something called Don't Go to Sleep.
yeah.
But the movie seemed really scary to me when I was a kid because it's about a young girl, and this girl played on Annie, the original Annie movie. She was
Mhm.
one of the orphans. And so that's a very, lighthearted,
Yeah.
kid oriented movie. But she plays uh, the daughter of uh, Dennis Weaver.
Mm,
And I'm trying to, I'm forgetting the woman actress's name. But anyway, plays their middle daughter. And their older daughter, Jennifer, had died in a car accident, I think like the year before. And Dennis Weaver's character is pretty much an alcoholic. He has a bar in his house and he drinks quite often. I'm not saying if you have a bar in your house you're an alcoholic, but you see him drinking quite a bit.
yeah.
And so Mary, that's the middle daughter's name, is having nightmares that something is, you hear this voice, Mary, and she's terrified, because she had nightmares just after her sister died. And so finally one day or one night, she just decides, it sounds like it's coming from under my bed. I'm just going to
Ooh.
get under my bed and wait for it to kill me. And that's what she does. She says, okay, kill me. And she hears something and she sits up and her sister Jennifer is there.
Oh god.
And, she looks just like she did. But Jennifer soon tells her, we've got to get rid of, she starts slowly telling Mary, we got to get rid of grandma because grandma is causing problems. So an iguana gets put in grandma's bed and grandma has a heart attack and dies.
Oh my goodness.
Then we got to get rid of little brother Kevin. And Kevin ends up going on the roof to get a frisbee that Mary has thrown up there, and somebody opens the window and causes him to fall off the house.
Oh my gosh.
And then we find out that I guess Mary's been doing all this stuff
Yeah, yeah, that's
because
what I figured.
Jennifer is telling her to do this.
Mhm.
And I'll never forget the ending scene where she's just electrocuted Dennis Weaver in the
Oh
bathtub.
my gosh.
And she just comes casually downstairs, and her mother's just coming with a pizza for the three of them to eat. And the mother says, why are all the lights off? I don't know, Mary says, and it's cause they blowed a fuse because her dad got electrocuted. And she says, "Well, where's your dad at?" "Well, he's still up in the bath." And she said, "Well, I'm gonna go up and check on him because it's dark in here." She goes up, finds him dead, and she's coming back down the stairwell, and she's just frantic. And Mary just goes completely ape, and I'll never forget this. This is the only movie I've ever seen a scene like this. She takes the pizza cutter and she starts out cutting the pizza, but then she starts rolling it along the wall, rolling it up the stairwell. And the mother sees her coming with that, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, Mary's the one that's been killing everybody." She tries to get away from her own daughter. Her own daughter's chasing her with this pizza cutter. She ends up cutting the phone line. You see her going like this with the pizza cutter, cut the phone line. And this is in the days before cell phones and stuff, folks. So, but that movie was so terrifying to me as a younger person. And it's still a lot of fun to watch and kind of
Mhm.
creepy and stuff because you begin to think that Mary has just lost her mind, that
Yeah,
seeing Jennifer is a delusion.
yeah,
And Mary ends up in on the mental health ward, the psych ward of the local hospital in a straitjacket, and the mother has fell down the stairs and everything else trying to get away from Mary, and so she's released from the hospital, goes home with a nurse to take care of her, and you get one final stinger on this movie that you think, oh, well, Mary's lost her mind. Jennifer's not around. And I'll never forget it. The mother is in bed. The nurse has left the room and she hears a knocking noise. And she thinks it's the nurse at first. And she calls out to the nurse. Nurse doesn't answer. The knocking comes again. And then you see Jennifer raise up at the end of the bed and she says, "Hello, mommy," and winks at her. And the last thing you see in this movie is the mother just screaming at the end of it, and then the movie goes off. But it's like, what
oh
in
my
the
gosh.
world? But
What kind of
for
movie is that?
for a made for TV movie, that one was pretty out
Yeah.
there.
They should have made it just like a real movie about it, like a actual movie that came out in theaters called Pizza Cutter Massacre.
Right? Yes. You are right, Victor. I believe you're right. Valerie Harper was the
Oh, I
mom.
love Valerie Harper, yeah.
Yeah, so it was Dennis Weaver and Valerie
My
Harper that
goodness.
played the
That's a
pair.
good cast.
Mhm.
I'll have to look this up.
Yeah, I think you could watch it on YouTube.
Mhm.
Um, Let me see. While I was playing about that movie, I missed some of these messages. Kathy says Banana Splits was hilarious.
I love banana splits.
Yeah, I remember Banana Splits.
I love them, yeah.
Russell says in '71 we had a Canadian monster and kid telly show called Hilarious House of Frankenstein with Vincent Price. It's a cult classic and love the replay videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Vincent Price
Oh,
anyway.
yeah.
TJ says he's promoting Garrett and the Rad Pack. He says Garrett and the Rad Pack are going to be doing a Snick retrospective soon, talking about those old '90s Nick shows. That'll be cool. Y'all be sure to hop on over to Garrett's channel to watch that. Uh, Russell said Lidsville with
Mhm.
Butch Patrick and
Yeah.
Charles Nelson Riley.
Yeah, I love Lidsville.
I've heard of that one, but I don't think that was
It's
one I
hats.
watched.
Yeah. Big hats walking around.
That sounds fun, though.
Yeah, it's like, like the HR Puff and stuff has, like, big, like, puppet costumes or something like
Mhm.
that's what it is. It's really neat.
TJ's talking about don't go to sleep. He says, yeah, she played the mother of Victor. Grandma was played by Ruth Gordon. Yes,
Oh,
Ruth Gordon plays the grandma, and the brother was the kid from
wow,
Poltergeist.
I'm gonna
That's
have to
right,
look this
Oliver.
up. I've never seen it. I'm gonna have to look this up.
Plus, you get the little girl that plays Mary as one of the orphans from Annie. Um, Kathy says, I never missed watching Night Gallery when it was on in the evenings. Yeah, I love
I
Night
love Night
Gallery
Gallery. Yeah, I loved it too.
and Outer Limits and
Outer Limits.
the old Twilight Zone, the
Mhm.
original Twilight Zone, and the 80s Twilight
Yeah.
Zone. I really, really like Tales from the Dark Side.
Oh, yeah.
Loved. Um, and actually, Russell says he grew up with the OG
Mhm.
Twilight Zone.
My favorite is the old yeah.
So TJ here he's going to give his take on Don't Go to Sleep. He said, "Well, Dana, we never see Mary doing anything, but it's an eye of the beholder thing because I thought the ghost was doing it all." Well, I kind of thought that the first time I watched it till we got to the end, where that may have just been misdirection. I mean, you're right about that. That they might have had Jennifer maybe controlling Mary, and that's a distinct possibility. I like looking at two sides of it though,
Yeah.
because everybody's got their own. We'll
Mhm.
we'll let Candice see it and get her take on it.
I'll do that, yeah. Got me interested.
Oh, Blissful, it's okay. She says, "I'm so late. I'm sorry." Blissful, bless her heart. She's always so apologetic. Um, you can come in here anytime as long as we're on. You can come in, and we're still here. Oh, sorry about that, Russell. You say, Dana, it's actually Frightenstein. I probably read it wrong. Yeah, y'all have to keep me in line because sometimes I'll look at something and I'll just read it totally wrong. But um, I was going to ask Candace. Candace, do you think you can stay on here till 3? We got a little over half an hour left.
Yeah. I'm no hurry.
And that way I'll be off in time before. I don't want anybody to think Steve's an ogre, but there have been times when I've still been doing a stream when he gets home and he's like, he just gives me this look. Sometimes he'll just come behind me and put his hand on my shoulder or something. But
Yeah. Talking
uh,
about the Twilight Zone, Dana, and this is for anybody in the chat who loves the Twilight Zone. Do you have any favorites?
you talking about the original Twilight
Yeah,
Zone?
that's one I'm well versed in is the original. I don't
Um, let's see. I'm trying to. It's been a while since I watched some of these, but I like that one that there were people, but they were like toys. If you looked at them from the outside, they were trapped in something,
yeah,
and you found out they were trapped in a container, like
I think I
somebody had put
remember
toys.
that one.
And
Yeah,
so from the outside, they look like dolls or action
yeah.
figures or something like that. But inside, they were like confused because they're like, "How did we get here?" I can't remember what the title of that one was, but I really, really liked that one.
There's one that is kinda like that, and I can't think of a title of it. But if Chris was in here, he probably would know. But it's like takes place in, like, this mall, and these girls are, like, going and, like, they leave, like, one of them
Is this the
leaves.
mannequin one?
The mannequin one,
Yeah, I
yeah.
like that one too.
Yeah.
Oh, and the one with Burgess Meredith where he's he's the only one left alive after
It's
an
like a nuclear
apocalypse.
bomb or something
Yeah,
like that. It's called, time. What's that called? I used to know the title. Stuff escapes my
Yeah, I'm
mind.
fuzzy on the titles
Yeah,
now.
he wants peace is the thing. He wants quiet and he
To
wants
read all the
peace.
books that he wants.
Yeah, but once he gets it, it's like this is, gonna drive me insane.
And then he breaks his glasses, which is
Yeah.
ultimate, like, backhanded
Mm.
slap from the universe that he's the only one left alive. He's got all these books around, and he
Can't even see.
breaks his glasses. And that was back in the days when the glasses were real glass.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that
not
that was
like
the real
now.
kicker. There's so many though. The one, with, um, William Shatner,
Mhm.
with the little, fortune teller thing, got the little devil on
Oh,
top of it.
yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah, I love now, I forget who put those out because we have a bunch of them.
Well,
I can't
I have the whole series of
Yeah,
Twilight.
yeah, I do too, yeah. We
Um, and I got it on DVD, and I'd really like to get it on
yeah,
Blu-ray, but I
we
haven't
have it on DVD and Blu-ray. The Blu-rays are really nice, and
got it.
the thing is, I've watched every one. My dad, one of his favorite shows was The Twilight Zone, so he actually bought them on DVD, and I've watched every one of them. Some of them more than, once. Um, like the whole season or the whole series, I've watched it more than once, but I just can't. There's so many I can't remember what the names and stuff is. But Chris got them on Blu-ray, and those are really nice. But they came out a while back. I can't remember if it was NECA or who put them out, but they come out with these little like dolls
Uh-huh.
of them. So
Oh,
we got
it's
a bunch of those, and there's the one. What's his name? I love him. He played on an episode of the Monkees. He plays Jaws on James Bond. I never forget his name.
oh, I know who you're talking about.
My
Daggone.
goodness. He's on the Monkees on the episode where they're like I was a teenage Frankenstein, it was called.
Yeah.
What is it? I never forget his name. We always joke about that episode of the
Victor's got
Monkees.
Richard
Richard
Keel.
Keel, yeah. Richard
Thank
Keel.
you, Victor.
There's an episode where, he's in it, he's got the big brain, like the big head. He's like
Uh,
a I need to go back and start that series over again.
um, Kathy says, Candice, the one where they were big old smile faces, doctor did surgery on the beautiful lady to look like them. That sounds kind of creepy, just reading.
There's some really creepy, and not chatty Cathy. See, that's how my mind I get stuff blocking what I really need to say because I wanted one of those dolls. They come out with them, like the big dolls that talk. What is her name? It's not Chatty Cathy. It's something playing off of that. It's the doll that says, "I don't really like you right now."
Yeah, yeah, that's so I mean, anything with dolls like that is just
Well, I love
oh,
dolls, so
I love dolls too, but, you
yeah,
know,
it's creepy. It's
there was a
creepy.
there was a scene in Tommy Knockers, and I know a lot of people don't like that particular miniseries, but there was a scene where the dolls that the sheriff has, she has a whole room full of dolls, and they come to life,
Yeah.
and they keep saying her name, Ruth. They keep saying it like that, and it's sort of creepy.
I mean, I wish I could think of what I need to
Uh,
think of because it's just it escapes my mind what they call
Victor
her.
says to serve man is the
Just her
Richard
man,
Kill.
yeah, that's it, yeah. Talkie
Talk,
Tina, that's it. I
Victor's he's on his game here. Thank you.
Yeah, he knows his stuff.
Um, Russell says William Shatner in the film The Intruder playing a Southern racist. Great performance. It seems like Steve has that movie,
Intruder. I don't think I've
unless
ever
I'm
seen it.
getting it confused with something else. We watched some crazy movie with William Shatner not very long ago. Blizzle says I do have one doll that I love, Mrs.
I
Beasley.
have a Miss Beasley doll, yeah. She's kind of different looking though. She looks really innocent and
Hey, X-Ray. X-Ray says, "Yo, Daner, what we talking about?" We're talking about anything and everything.
Everything.
Blair says, "Do you remember the scene in Dolly Dearest when Denise Crosby is trying to sneak by one of the dolls and it was snarling at her so creepy?" I do remember
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I could talk about creepy dolls forever and ever. There's that one movie that's just called Dolls, and
Yeah, yeah.
the Chucky movies and Dolly Dearest, and you could even include the Puppet Master stuff in there.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. People has an aversion to dolls, though, it's just one of those things like clowns. People don't like clowns, even though I started out loving clowns. You know how that turned out. But, I do like some clowns. I like stuff that Chris says the ones I like look the creepiest. Like, I loved Bozo growing up, I still love Bozo. Like the Emmett Kelly stuff, I think that stuff
Mhm.
looks so cute and stuff, and Chris is like, "That's creepy."
Well, like I think Howdy Doody's creepy.
I love Howdy Do. I always loved I always loved, like, dummies and stuff like that, but
Mhm.
I don't know. Um, Dead Silence really which is
Yeah,
one of
that
my
would
favorite
do
horror films. I love Dead Silence. I don't know what it is about it,
it.
but
Mhm.
it's super creepy. I
Mhm.
mean, that really is I was genuinely scared when I first seen that movie, and it still, to this day, creeps me out, and I guess where I do love dolls and I do love, like, stuff like that, that's one that really does make me question my love for such. I think she's
Well,
just the woman who played Mary Shaw is just so creepy looking. I think, that's what it is, and just the thought of her, like, making a human boy into, like, a
yeah,
puppet, it's like, man, that's creepy as hell.
that's just it's bizarre and it's
It
creepy.
is, it's really creepy.
But I'm gonna reveal something to you guys and gals about myself, and you're gonna say, "Oh, ha ha, this is funny," because Dana watches pretty much any horror movie that's out there. Do you guys know that there are some horror movies that I still don't like to watch at night? I can watch them fine during the day, but I just when it starts getting dark, I'm like, I don't think I want to watch that. And it might not be ones that you would even think about, but Pet Cemetery is one that I generally don't like to watch at night. And
Yeah.
it's not because of anything else in that movie but Zelda. Zelda
Oh,
scares the
yeah.
crap out of me.
Yeah, that was terrifying to me as a kid. It still is. I mean, it
I
just
think it affects almost everybody like
yeah,
that. But
very, very creepy scene. It always was, um, something that I always hated watching. You know, the biggest, like, scare, and this is funny, it is now that, everybody knows what it is and that it's there was a huge I don't know if you remember this. I know you probably heard of it, but I don't know if you remember, like, the height of it, like, when it was, like, a big thing, and I say you do, was the whole 3 Men and a Baby thing. That was the scariest thing because my aunt come and she's like, "We gotta go rent 3 Men and a Baby. We gotta go rent 3 Men and a Baby." And it seemed like I could just be imagining this because I was a kid, I was little. It could have just been something that's just, like, in my head, but it seems like there was even, like a spot on TV about it and everything, talking about the ghost of the boy who killed himself on the
yeah.
set or the building or whatever it was of the 3 Men and a Baby thing, and my aunt went and rented it, and I remember us all, my grandma, my grandpa, my uncles, my aunt, we all put it in and got to that part where it supposedly showed the little boy standing in the window, and I
Right.
remember screaming. I remember my aunt screaming and everybody screamed because it was, like it was terrifying, and that to me was the most terrifying thing ever because I was like, "This shows ghosts are real, but
Mhm.
come to find out it was like Ted Danson, like a cardboard cutout of Ted Danson. But it was like this big craze and everybody was, like,
I
freaking
guess
out.
I missed out on that. Was that kinda like a urban legend type of thing, or
Well, it was, but somebody took it and ran with it because it was everybody was talking about it. And I'm sure people in the chat probably remember it too. There has to be somebody out there that remember it. And it seems like it was on, like, somebody had even made, like a news segment on it or something like that. Like, again, I could say,
oh,
I could be, misremembering it and it just made it up in my mind or whatever, but
seems like I may have read about it online or something like that because it
I
sounds so
remember I remember, like, looking at it and it looking like a boy holding a gun instead of in the curtains. It
yeah.
looked like that, but now people saying it's like
I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch that movie now.
it's like Ted Danson, like, with a top hat, like it's a cardboard cutout there. So, I I don't know, but that cardboard cutout is not what I remember seeing. It
Right.
looked like a ghost boy, but the thing
I
is
wonder if it's like the power of suggestion that somebody might
yeah, exactly. Me, I was a little kid, and it like what I seen is, when you're little and you think that you're gonna see something, exactly right. That's probably what it was, but I
but
don't
I wanted to talk because with Mr. Rogers being a favorite of Candace's, TJ says, creepiest puppet, Lady Elaine in the land of make believe. Yee.
she was creepy
She was,
looking. I loved Lady Elaine, yeah.
Blissful agrees that she was creepy.
Very creepy with that big red nose.
Player says, TJ, for sure, she had too much blush on. Russell says, as a child, I had a big clown doll, and it's big. I guess if you turned its big red nose, it would play music. So clowns don't scare us. And Wes had to say, I don't like watching the Fog remake at night or day. Well, neither do I. I don't like the Fog remake. Um, thank you, Blissful. Blissful says, please hit the thumbs up. Thank you. Um, TJ says, Fog remake, I blocked it out. Well, I tried to block it out. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. Um, X-ray, this is interesting. He says, Dana, off topic, but you and the other woman look like Native American women in the thumbnail. So me and Candace look like Native American women. Well, that's okay. I take that as a compliment. I don't mind that. Russell says the Fog remake was bollocks. I'll agree with you there, Russell. Blair says the best part of the Fog remake was Fallout Boy at the beginning. It went downhill from there. I'm not even a fan of Fallout Boy. No offense to anybody that is, but Wes says I don't know how anybody can say Ted Danson looks like a dead ghost
Yeah,
kid.
you go back and look at that, and you're like, "How did anybody ever think that was?" It looks, I mean, it's obvious.
And Russell says you do look Native American, Candace.
Well, my, DNA come back, and it didn't say that I had any kind of,
It might be
um
the braid. Maybe it's the braids and the dark hair. And
it don't make any sense. It's weird how DNA works because, like, my family members who are, like double first cousins, so that everybody they're kin to, my mom's kin to, theirs came back as Native American. But mine
interesting.
mine didn't. I must not got any of it, so it's weird
I
how DNA works.
I've never checked my DNA or had it
I'm
checked
mostly
for me.
Scottish and all that good stuff.
People always tell me because my maiden name is Estes. They always say that
Yeah,
sounds Spanish.
it
I've
does.
had several people say that, which could be. I've never done any genealogy or anything like that.
It's weird because you get like 50% DNA from your mom, 50% DNA from your dad. There's, I have Native American, blood in my ancestry. It just, it- from my test results, it just didn't make it to me, which makes sense because my mom's side, like my grandma and her her brother, they didn't really look like they had Native American, but my grandmother's sister and her kids, you can definitely, and he come up in their DNA, they were, but so I don't know how that works. I guess you just get what you get.
Yeah, it's a toss up of what
Mhm.
you're going to get there. Russell says Shawnee Smith before the Saw films was on the telly sitcom Baker with Ted Danes.
Better.
So we got 6 degrees of separation with Ted Danes in there. Um, X-Ray says Dana is Spanglish. Yeah, could be. I'm not going to say don't have Spanish ancestry. It's
You need
entirely.
to do your DNA and reveal it on one of these shows, Dana.
I'll have to do that. How much does if you don't mind me asking, Candace, how much does something like that cost?
Well, I got mine. I think Chris got mine for Mother's Day, and it was,
Hmm.
like, had some percentage off of it. I think it was, like, $60 for, Ancestry
Oh, that's not bad.
DNA.
That's not
It's
bad
really
at all.
neat because it like, whenever you put it into the system, it uploads it into the system whenever you get your DNA results back, and connects you to your people that you're related to on
Oh,
there, and it's really neat. It really is.
that is really cool. Oh, Blair, this you're talking about one of my favorite all-time favorite movies here.
For sure.
Blair says, I remember Shawnee Smith in summer school, Mark Harmon in summer school, Dean Cameron in summer school,
Mhm.
Gary Riley in summer school. Oh my gosh.
Oddly enough, I've never seen that. Chris loves that movie.
Oh,
I've never seen it.
if you're a horror fan and you don't love that movie, I don't know what to say. Because you have two characters played by Dean Cameron and Gary Riley that are called
Mhm.
Chainsaw and Dave. And you have
Yeah.
this great scene where Mark Harmon he's a summer school teacher, so he's taking roll call, he's doing roll call. And Chainsaw's real name is Francis Grimm or
Mhm.
something like that. And he says that he says, "Don't ever call me that." And he says, "Call me Chainsaw." He says, "As in Black and Decker." He says, "As in Texas Massacre." And so they had this screening of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in the classroom and all kinds of stuff. It's just uh, so. I just love that movie. The very essence of that movie, I love
Yeah,
that movie.
he loves it. He told me all about it, and I just one of those films that I've never seen.
The killer bunnies scene in there, where Chainsaw and Dave have they're like, "Killer bunnies!" And they're coming out there with these fake rabbits stuck on them with fake blood and stuff. Um, yes, TJ says Shawnee was in The Stand 1994 before Becker and Saul. Yes, she was as the crazy, I forget what her name was in that. I'm gonna have to go back and watch The Stand again. But she was crazy. She was shooting at Nick and oh gosh, my brain's getting really bad. Oh, and Tom Cole, and she was shooting at them. Um, Russell says that's okay. Same problem with people thinking I'm Native American, blue blood German. He says.
I have some German, and it comes from my, dad's grandpa on his, so, yeah, I've traced that back because it showed up in my DNA, and I was like, "Where did that come?" Because it's really small percentage, and, and I had French too, and I was able on the DNA I was able to trace it back, both the French and the German, to where it comes. I said, "This is so neat." You
Mm,
know, how that works and how I would get that because, like I said, you do get, like, 50% from my understanding, you get 50% DNA from your mom, and it's just a toss up of what you're gonna get from her blood,
right.
because she may have something that I don't like, clearly a Native American, but I don't it didn't come to me. You know, it just didn't show up in my
It
DNA.
just didn't filter down far enough.
No, I told her, I said, "Yeah, that's so weird." Oh, that does that.
To go back to summer school for a second, I'd like to do another watch along for summer school because I did one a while back and I didn't really have anybody live on there with
Yeah.
me. So that would be a fun one that I'd like to get you and Chris on. So
Yeah, it'd be my first time watching it. Chris loves it, like I said, he always did. I can't remember if we it seems like we met somebody from that. I can't remember who what's his name? Cameron?
Dean Cameron, yeah.
Dean Cameron, I think that's who we met, yeah.
Yeah, I met him too. I met him and Gary Riley at the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
And Dean Cameron was so funny.
What
I
else is
love him.
he in, Dana? Dean Cameron?
Dean Cameron, he was in a movie called Ski School. He was in Bad Dreams.
There's something that I can picture
He
him
was
in
in a
my
ton
head,
of stuff. I just can't.
and I can't remember what it is. I'll have to look that up whenever I get off of here because I see him in a role of something, but I can't quite remember what it is.
Hmm.
I hate
I
when that
don't have
happens.
the Ski School movie, but I think Steve has a DVD of Ski School. I'd like to watch it sometime. Yes, TJ, you're right. Shawnee Smith plays crazy Julie Lowry. Oh, that's right, Blair. Men at Work. I should have remembered that. I love Men at Work with Emilio Estevez and
Yeah,
Charlie Sheen. He was the pizza dude. Yeah,
yeah,
I think they
yeah,
take him hostage or something at
yeah,
one point.
yeah. Because so they had like a merry-go-round or something. They got somebody tied up too, don't they? In that, am I misremembering that?
I think so. I at least I remember him kind of tied up sandwich between them in the garbage truck, though. I do remember that. Oh, okay. TJ says fave Dean Cameron movie is Rockula. Yeah, I know he was in a ton of stuff. I'm just like forgetting some of the things that he was in. But I got a picture with him. I'm gonna have to dig up that picture so I can show it on the stream sometime. Where we posed and Dean Cameron's leaning in like he's got his head almost on my shoulder. I just love that picture. Uh, and he was very nice to meet. And Gary Riley was very, very nice to meet too. And he looked at me and Steve and he's like, "Is this your husband? You guys look like you were just made to be together." I mean, he was going into this whole thing. You've seen Gary Riley in movies. He was in Stand By Me. He was in the Planes, Trains, and Automobiles as the thief that steals their wallets or steals the money out of their wallets. And he was in a ton of stuff too. But you expect, wacky, Dave or something from summer school or something like that. But he's just a very sweet, down to earth
Yeah.
guy.
I don't know if we met him or not. I can't remember. I've met so many people. It's hard to, especially if I didn't know them as well. Because Chris has met a lot of people that I wasn't really as I didn't know as well as he did. So
Mm.
we could have met him. I just can't remember.
Uh, Blair says, Candace, you're right. They tied the police officers to the merry-go-round. That's right.
Yeah,
They did the
yeah.
police
It's been
officers.
so long since I've seen that movie, but it's I like it though.
Uh, TJ says Dean lost some hair up front. Well, yeah. I mean, he is older. He doesn't look exactly like he used to. So, but none of us.
Boy, none, dude. Trust me.
I definitely don't. So,
I
uh,
found that out the hard way. So,
my dear husband's lost all of his hair. It's not just like he lost it up front, but I love him just the same.
oh
So,
yeah, we
uh,
like that sexy bald head sometimes.
it is sexy, and Steve was bald when I met him,
Yeah,
so, I didn't know any better, so looks fine to me.
stone cold. He wore that well.
Well, and I don't think Chris would mind me saying this. Chris has lost his hair, right,
Yeah,
Candace?
he says I caused it, but I said no. You was losing it before you met me. So there you go.
And I don't know how much Wes has lost, but either he lost it all or he shaved the rest of it off. Steve's still got some that grows on the back of his head
Yeah,
that he
Chris
has
does
to
too.
shave.
I don't mind it. I like it, to be honest with you.
Hmm. I start even when we were dating and we got more serious about each other. I don't want anybody to think I did this the first time we went out on a date, but after we got serious about each other, I was like, "Ooh, I love this velvety." It felt like you were petting an animal or something. Steve would be like, "Stop that!" Um, Wes wants to know. He says, "What do y'all think about University of Kentucky's new basketball coach?" I didn't know that they had a new basketball coach. Is that a joke, or they do
No,
they
they do.
really have one?
I I don't know. I don't, that would have been a, question for my dad, before he passed away. If he knew, I'd like to know what he would have thought, because
So
he
did
was.
they get rid of Calipari?
Yeah, well, he stepped aside from what I've seen.
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't really follow basketball,
I don't either.
anymore, but it was shocking, kind of. I was like, "Okay." You get used to somebody being around too, you know?
Blissell says, "Wes, I'm a Syracuse fan."
I
Well,
hope that they
yeah,
can start
Blissell's
winning
in
some stuff.
upstate New York,
Yeah.
so
I hope they can start winning some championships and stuff like that. That'd be nice.
uh, Russell says, "Rockula is a bleeding funny film." And Blair wants to know what was wrong with Calipari. Well, according to my mom, there were a lot of things wrong
Yeah.
with him.
There's people who's mad about it, and there's people who's glad about it. It's just like which side of the fence you wanna take. I've seen people, just so upset that they don't even watch Kentucky anymore, but it's like, they'll get over it, I would think.
Wes says Calipari went to Arkansas.
Yeah, he went to Arkansas.
And Blair says Rock Chalk Jayhawks. Russell says, "Don't watch basketball. Sorry. Don't even like the Raptors." Yeah, I've never I like to play basketball just for fun. I wouldn't want to be on a sports team where you got to be serious about it.
Yeah.
I like goofing around and playing a little b-ball, as we used to say back in the day. I don't know if people say b-ball now, but
I always liked watching Kentucky and stuff like that, and, I used to get into it a lot, but, it's one of those things that I just as I've gotten a little bit older, I just don't follow it anymore. Now, my dad, he was a true blue, and my mom, she I don't think, where my dad isn't here anymore, I don't think she is gonna follow it like she used to, but he was a true blue Kentucky fan. He he loved his
Dad's a
basketball.
Kentucky fan, even
Mhm.
through I mean, he'll sit there and cuss while he's watching the games if it's not going well, but you'll
Yeah,
hear a few damn it's
yeah.
and stuff like that while he's watching it,
My
but
mom, she is very, soft spoken, and she don't but whenever she's watching basketball and it's getting down to the wire, I
yeah.
mean, you could hear her outside just screaming.
My mom got into Kentucky basketball here in the last few years. She
Yeah.
never did like it, and then she sat down and watched it with Dad one
Mhm.
time, and she just got just like him, just she couldn't stand it. And my aunt Pam, my mom's sister, has always been a huge
Yeah,
Kentucky
yeah,
Wildcats fan, and you don't bother my aunt Pam when she's watching a Kentucky basketball game.
yeah, there's some people gets really into
Oh,
it.
yeah. Everything has to be quiet.
Mhm.
Nobody can ask her anything. Don't ask her for anything because she's into that game. And she
Yeah.
always has been like that. Bless her heart. I love my Aunt Pam, but she's a huge Kentucky fan. Blissell says, "I love college basketball, not really a pro fan." I know people like that.
Not really a sports fan. I used to like race car driving, racing
Mm.
watching races and stuff, uh, but I've never been a huge fan. Now, I used to follow Jordan. I liked him. I would follow him back in the '90s and stuff like that, and I think that was more just of a not really because I liked basketball, it was just because I liked, you know he was huge back then. I mean, he was on everything. Um,
Well, Magic Johnson back in the day,
yeah,
I would pay attention to him because dad just loved Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
Russell says, I prefer hockey and football, soccer.
I was a wrestling fan, if you wanna put that. I know that's not like a
Yeah, it can count. It counts.
I watched that growing up.
It's just a very entertaining sport.
Mhm.
That's what wrestling is.
Yeah, I was a huge wrestling fan, still am.
I like to watch it from time to time, and I've
Yeah.
went to house shows with Steve.
Yeah, I watched the reruns and so Chris is Chris and his wrestling, he's like that's his favorite thing.
Right,
But me, I just some of the newer stuff, I don't get into the newer stuff. I'm
right.
stuck in the attitude era.
Well, I mean, I grew up with wrestling in the '80s, and
Oh,
Jake
yeah.
the Snake and all that
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
stuff, and I remember seeing like Andre the Giant and Dusty
Mhm.
Rhodes and people like that. But then I got out of it, and then when I started listening to Dead Pit, and then when Steve and I got together, it kind of renewed my interest in the wrestling.
I remember meeting Dusty Rhodes, and, we're going to WrestleMania. It was whenever it was down in New Orleans. We went on our honeymoon, a very belated honeymoon, and, we went to New Orleans to go to WrestleMania and to see New Orleans. Um, and, we were at this I don't know if it's called WrestleCon or what it was, but, I met Dusty Rhodes there. I remember going up to him, and he looked just like my grandpa. Whenever I was just looking at him, I was like, "He looked just like," because I always thought that he looked like my grandpa. I mean, ask Chris, he looked identical to my grandpa. Well, he really looked like my grandpa. And, Bob Backlund was in the background on a ring wrestling somebody, and if you know who Bob Backlund is, he's just a character. And
Uh,
we had previously seen Bob Backlund. He was, like, doing flips on the ground and all that stuff. Just really awesome seeing him. So, Bob Backlund was doing some kind of something in the ring, and Dusty was up on this, like, big pedestal, like a thing that you had to go up and meet. It was him and some other wrestlers. I think some of them were maybe in I don't know if they were in NXT or whatever they were in.
mhm,
But Dusty was the main one. He was the only one I cared about. And we went up to meet him, and whenever it got to me, Chris was in front of me. He had already met him and all that good stuff. And I basically ignored the guy that was in front of me because I was just, anticipating meeting Dusty Rhodes because he's like one of my favorites of all time. And this guy that was trying to give me an autograph that was in front of me that was sitting beside Dusty, he was like, just looking at me like, "Are you gonna acknowledge me?" And so, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry." And he signed my autograph, and then I went over to Dusty, and Dusty was watching Bob Backlund back there. He was, like, distracted, and he was just started chuckling to himself. He just, like, was just
mhm,
laughing, and if you know how Dusty talks, he's got this unique voice, and all
right.
of a sudden, he noticed that I was standing in front of him. He went, "Oh, sorry, baby. What I'm sorry. How you doing? How you doing?" I was like
I could just imagine
I
that.
was just like, "Oh, it's alright. I'm fine." And he said, "How you doing today?" It was amazing. I was like, "This is freaking Dusty Rhodes I'm standing in front of." I was just
Right.
wanting him to talk about the sweet taste of Mountain Dew.
That would be awesome.
That's what he did with Mountain Dew, right? Or is it Mellow Yellow?
Maybe it was Mellow Yellow. I don't know. Help us out here, Wes. You're in here saying stuff. I'm going to read through a few more of these. Let's see. I got to put this up here. What the Blissful said. She said, "My dad would watch the Yankees, and my mom would ask if they scored a touchdown." That would be like me back in the day. I didn't know much about it at all. X Ray says he likes basketball.
Basketball. That's a movie, right?
Hmm. Russell says or not basketball. I'm still on that. Basketball was invented by a Canadian doctor in the USA. They used peach baskets,
Hmm.
hence basketball. I
Yeah.
think I had heard something about the peach baskets. TJ says, Dana, maybe we somewhere down the line can do horror TV movies. Yeah, I'm game. Except don't go to sleep because we've already talked about that several times. I know, Wes, I know. He says Dana usually competes with the wrestling pay-per-view TV shows. Bad move, Dana. I know it. Uh, up. Wes said
Mellow
Mellow
Yellow.
Yellow, baby, the
I
taste of
knew
Pete's Mountain Dew.
I knew once I said that, I knew it was. I was like, "No, it's Mellow Yellow."
I'm waiting for them to make like, and evidently, according to TJ, they have zero sugar Mellow Yellow at some like
Mhm.
restaurants. But I want it to be like, I want to go and find zero sugar Mellow Yellow in the store so I can buy it.
I've never liked Mellow Yellow. I don't know why. I never liked it.
I liked it back in the day, but of course, I know it's loaded with sugar if you
Yeah,
drink the
and
regular.
I like Mountain Dew, but I can't drink it, so I just don't drink it. I would love to drink Mountain Dew, but I don't.
I got addicted to Mountain Dew when I was in high school because that's what all my friends were drinking.
Yeah,
Good thing they weren't drinking alcohol, isn't it? Because
yeah.
then I
I like
might
the
have.
Code Red.
Steve likes the code red. He likes the offshoots, but he
Yeah,
doesn't like regular Mountain Dew.
I can't drink it. It bothers me, my stomach and stuff, so I'm like, "Oh." I wish I could because it tastes good, but it's not good for you, so, maybe it's a good thing.
Those energy drinks, they do. I'm probably eating a hole in my
Oh
stomach laughing
god,
at those
I
things.
can't do energy drinks.
I know
Chris
I've
can't
drank
either.
too many when my
Whenever
stomach.
Chris takes them, whenever he drinks, energy drink, it makes his, like, heart beat real fast and just, like, feel like he's got the flu.
Ooh,
So, I said, "Yeah," and, I've done that before. I've drank one a long time ago. It was my first and probably last time ever drinking one. It was those ones called, forget what they're called. It's they only have one flavor of it, whatever it is. It's like a
trying to think.
I forget what it's called, but anyway, it made me feel that way, and I was like, "I just don't like the way they make me feel."
It will upset my stomach if I drink too many of them. That's how I know
Mhm.
I've drank too many of them. TJ says Mellow Yellow has 49.5
Mm.
grams of caffeine, but Dew has 55.
I stay away from caffeine. I if I drink a pop or soda or whatever, it's usually without caffeine. I don't
The thing is, Sprite will make me sick unless I am sick to my stomach, and then I can
really.
drink Sprite. It's weird. It's
Yeah,
very
because
weird.
Sprite usually is a very like, it helps with stomach problems.
I don't know why.
I'm a ginger ale fan. I'm a fan of root beer or cream soda, and if I drink something like Big Red or Big Blue, those type of things. If I drink soda, that's what I prefer.
Uh, TJ says, after you reach 40, don't do energy drinks. Well, I'm in trouble because I'll be 48 this year and I've been doing these things for years. And Radhammer says, do you think there should have been a sequel to The Uninvited since the cat mutant survived by floating on the luggage? Well, I mean, I probably would have watched it, Radhammer, if they had come out with one because I'm a glutton for punishment in some cases. It could have been terrible and I would, probably would have watched it. Uh, ooh, herbal tea,
I
blissful.
drink a lot of tea, yeah. Green tea a lot, ginger.
Yeah,
Ginger is good for you.
yeah, I need to get me some different teas for the Terror Time tea. There's a, I've been telling everybody, there's set, like a tea set, and they're actual in little tins and stuff you can get
Oh,
at
yeah.
Costco for like $10. So if you're a member of Costco, you should go or have somebody that is a member of Costco go get you one. Uh, Wes says one of those prime energy drink. I've had the prime ones.
Oh
Has
my
over
god.
200 milligrams of caffeine.
Gosh.
I think there's some that might have over 300.
I just can't do caffeine. A little caffeine don't hurt, but man, it makes me feel like going and running a marathon or so I probably need to. That's probably what I need to do is drink some caffeine.
Don't we all, Candace? I need to do something. At least get out and walk a little bit more. It'd be
Yeah.
better for me. Um, TJ says, "No, that movie is horrible, fun, bad, but not worth a sequel." Talking about the uninvited. Um, Blissful says Dana, Earl Grey with lavender is delicious.
I love Earl Grey. I've never had it with lavender though. That sounds good.
Uh, Russell says got some THC infused green tea for pain. Well, I don't blame you, Russell. And Russell, I just wanted to say something before I forget, because I must have missed you talking about this in the chat. If you did bring it up in the chat, and for that I'm sorry. But I heard that you had an injury, so I hope you're feeling better and that you're on the mend. Um, I just wanted to make sure I said that before we end this. Um, which, speaking of, I have had a fantastic time this
Yes.
afternoon, and Candace seems like she's had a great time as
Yeah,
well.
I have. I really have, and I'm looking forward to next week. So anybody wants to come on, show albums, not even albums, I mean, it could be anything. You've got any kind of like something cool you want to show off. I mean,
Yeah,
Dana's game. I am.
I'm flexible that way. We can, as long as it's not, like I said, something obscene, we're okay with it.
Yeah,
What you're showing on here.
yeah. Keep
Um,
it clean.
We have to keep it clean, or else YouTube might clean house with my channel,
Yeah.
and we don't want that. So, um, Radhammer says we need a sequel, but we need it 35 years ago. That's a lot of things. You wonder why
Yeah.
didn't they make a sequel of that?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Russell, I thought I'd heard you fell. You said Dana fell off
Mm,
the bed and broke 2 ribs last week.
my
Ooh,
goodness.
that hurts me just thinking
That's
about it. So
painful.
bless your heart. I hope you are
Yeah.
feeling better or on the mend at least.
Yeah, I've had rib injuries and just been injured at one of the worst pains, so I couldn't imagine breaking your ribs.
So I've been sitting here drinking this lemonade from McAllister's during most of this stream. So I really got to go to the restroom, not to give y'all too much information, but there's going to be a puddle under my computer chair if I don't get off of here soon. But I do want to thank Candace for taking on this role, first of all,
Thank you.
and joining me for this series. I hope it's a long running
Yeah.
series of streams. I really do. And I want to thank everybody
Mhm.
that came into the chat, that threw questions at me and Candace and got us all, into the zone, so to speak, because I didn't really know, you know, what direction it was going to
Yeah.
take because I didn't really have a theme. This was just a debut show to introduce us to you and what we were planning on doing with the show. Um, so TJ says, enjoy the rest of the day, y'all. Well, you do as well, TJ.
Yeah, and I just wanna thank you, Dana,
Oh,
first
you're
of all,
very
for
welcome.
entrusting me to come on here and be with you. I mean, whenever you had invited me, I was like, I'm doubtful of myself, but I was like, I enjoy talking to Dana. I love I've enjoyed the other, things that I've been on with her channel, you know, it's fun, so why not? Give it but I've really enjoyed myself. I enjoy myself every time I come on here, so I wanna thank you for entrusting me, first of all, to come on here and share this time with you, for being your guest on here, so I'm really looking
Well,
forward to all.
I couldn't have asked for a better person to team
Thank
up
you.
for this.
And I've enjoyed talking to the chat. I've really enjoyed today, so, I'm looking forward to next week and seeing what all we got planned there.
And I hope you're looking forward to this weekend and
Mhm, yeah,
multiplicity. And you can come in on Blood Diner if you want to as
no,
well. You and Chris
Chris likes
both.
that one a whole lot, yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe he might can join too.
Yep, he's welcome to if y'all both want to come on, and if y'all are going to be in separate rooms or something, I can send y'all both the link.
Okay.
And,
I got my babies this weekend, so my nephews, so if I can't on Saturday, Chris will,
okay,
I'm sure, but I will be there on for Multiplicity, I mean, because I wouldn't wanna miss that one.
and it just worked out so that uh, Candace and Chris both hopefully will be able to join us
Oh,
for
yeah.
it. for that
That's
one.
he really wanted to be on that one too.
And I want to get, like I said, I want to get Uncle Bill and possibly CK as well on the Blood Diner one. I want to have a big, I'd like to have a big old crew. We can have up to 10 people in here. Now, we might break the internet, but we sure as heck can try to get
You can
10
try it, huh?
people in here. I've had several people in here at one time in past streams, and those were always really, really fun.
Yeah.
Really fun streams. Uh, Blissful says, "Have a beautiful day, everyone. You do as well,
Yeah.
Blissful." And Russell says, "I'm glad we spent this time together. Great way to spend the afternoon together."
Oh,
It
yeah.
certainly was,
We had
Russell.
a wonderful time, yeah, definitely. I mean, we had our little snafus at the like you said, at the beginning, but, it all worked out and kinda got into the groove of things. Whenever you get, like, a curveball thrown at you, sometimes it's hard to get started, but
Yeah.
once we got started, everything just, kinda fell into place, so I've enjoyed myself, I really have. It's been a good time.
I just got to remember if it does that again, just take myself out of the stream and I'll get myself back in. You have a good afternoon as well, Rat Hammer.
Mhm,
And on that note, I guess me and Candace will skedaddle on out of here for the afternoon.
mhm.
And I'll see y'all at 7 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow night for Blood Diner. So y'all stay tuned for all the things we got coming up. And we're out of here, right, Candace?
See everybody.
Bye,
Have a good
everybody.
day.
Bye, Candace.